The Top Fuel Racing Series is on the air, live from Road America. It's the DW12 Series, race number 6. This broadcast being brought to you in part by Napa Auto Parts. A chain of over 6,000 locally owned Napa Auto Parts centers. There's one near you. Napa Know-How. And of course, we cannot forget our very good friends at TDA Motorsports. Terry Adams and the crew over there proudly supporting the Disabled American Veterans Association. DAV is an all-volunteer fleet of non-critical medical transport for America's veterans. And more information on how you can get involved, go to dav.org. Tonight's overlay being brought to you by PZ Overlays. Paul Zoda creating some of the most amazing overlays in the entire sim racing community. For more information, you can find Paul on his Facebook page. Race number 6, ladies and gentlemen. And we are back to the... we're going to hit you with so many rights, you're going to be begging for a left after this one. Road America. And qualifying underway right now. And these guys are just flat getting it. We're following along with Kevin O'Brien. Sam Cooper Bennett getting it a little bit wrong. Coming after the uphill after the Corvette bridge. And that's very easy to do there because you crest the hill. It's an off camber. You can see it with O'Brien here as he comes up the hill. It's an off camber left-hander as you crest the hill. So something to be mindful of tonight. Still waiting for the first one to lay down a time, though. Probably one of my favorite sections of track coming up here. After the big carousel, after the Speedville Bridge. You get the short chute and the kink. This is a place where you can either get it wonderfully right or horribly wrong. And these guys didn't get it too horribly wrong. Chris Walker currently laying down the first hot lap. 146.072. That's pretty quick. You know, these guys were flirting with those numbers during excuse me, during the hot lap session. And I've about had my fill of Spectrum. So, yeah. Gonna be one of them nights, folks. Bear with me. I'm sorry. Shouldn't be this bad, but unfortunately it is. So, you get to watch along as I get to screw with my graphic settings. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to turn that off. And unfortunately for you guys, we're going to turn that off too. We get to turn that off as well because it's a day race. And we're going to go from there and see what that does. And while we're at it, before we forget, let's overclock Dr. Graphics Card. Just make sure we're wound up as tightly as we can be right now. Ah, the joys of live broadcasting. Gotta love it. Can I? So, there we go. Yeah. Play nicely. Release the hounds! Bury the memory clock. And then we're going to turn the fan on high. And we're good. No. All right. So Chase Hudson currently sitting at the top of the leaderboard. 145.4. That's moving. Chris Walker, Nate Siefker, Keith Mayato. Keith actually had his first DW12 start last week at Pocono. Hell of a place to go into your first ever DW12 race, Pocono. I think I'd rather get a root canal without Novocaine. Not that I don't love Pocono, because it's a beautiful area. I actually worked and lived in the general area, about hour and a half from the track. But that track and I have agreed to not get along. I've come to the I made the agreement with the track that I won't try to drive on it, and it won't try to kill me. Meanwhile, we're following along with Keith as he's laying down right now. It's got a good run going. That's going to keep him fifth quick, 146.284. So about a tenth of improvement over his previous time. And Chase Hudson's just flat getting it right now. And I'm thinking Chase is working on race pace right now as Joe Morganti comes out of the pits right in front of him. Holy Christmas. That could have ended very poorly. I mean, you see Chase just bite into the sand trap. I think Joe just pooped himself. Okay. Galen Gidman coming out of the pits now. Just getting up to speed for another flyer. About 10 minutes left in the hot lap session. Chris Walker just busted one off. And we've seen Chris have some pretty decent runs the past couple of weeks. Just bad luck, biting him in the butt. On a pretty decent run right now. Oh! Call it the announcer's curse as he just took it across the curbs. And eats the tire wall. Ronnie Osmer trying to get up to speed right now is on his out lap. Coming through the kink at pace. Now we've seen in the stock cars, Ronnie, the kink that Ronnie just went through and Ronnie have not gotten along all that well. Hopefully the open wheelers will do a little bit better for him. Nope, the switchback going into the final corner definitely not treating him well. Let's follow along with Tony Rice right now. He just laid down a 149.8, so not too shabby. Good enough for 11 so far. This downhill can be a little bit tricky. It's a little deceiving about how much speed you're carrying into it. That's why there's so much runoff. Up the hill into the off-camber left-hander. Another little downhill, not quite as deceiving as the earlier one. Under the Speedville Bridge, going to be going into the carousel, the world famous carousel here at Road America. That leads on to the back chute and the kink. And carrying a little too much speed through the carousel. Going to have a little bit of dirt on the tires. Coming through the kink a little off pace. That's Keith Mayato, it looks like, behind him. And Keith's going to be picking up a little bit of a draft here coming onto the front straightaway. So that could bode well for moving Mayato up the field. Late apex into the last corner. And Mayato taking it pit side. And that lap, Tony Rice gave up a full second there. Let's check in with Ronnie Osmer coming through the kink again. Coming out of the kink, I should say. Gets the switchback leading into the final corner a little bit better. That late apex. And that was his out lap. So we're going to see what type of time Ronnie can lay down here. Into turn 3. Really getting a good drive off the corner there under the Sargento Bridge. Again, the world famous Sargento Bridge. Down the hill. And again, you carry so much speed coming into that corner that it's very easy to overcook it. And you have to have all your braking done before you get under that bridge, because as soon as you crest the bridge, it goes into the corner and off camber. So it's very easy to either just push with no steering or loop it. Ronnie got a decent flyer going right now. If he can keep it all together, this might be a decent time for Osmer. The last couple of weeks, or last couple of times we've seen him, he started shotgun on the field. So for him to actually lay down a legit, decent qualifying time could bode well. And there is money on the line tonight, folks. 15 to the winner, $5 to second and third, and $5 to the biggest mover of the event. But you have to actually put in a qualifying time to qualify for the Hard Charger Award. As Osmer comes across the line, 146.7. That's going to put him 8th quick currently. As Hudson has improved on his time. No, I take that back. Hudson has bumped Chapman off the pole. 145.1. I'll say that again. 145.1 around Road America. That's flying. I don't care who you are. You know, your top three, Hudson, Chapman, and Walker, are all in the 45s. The only problem is there's over 2/10 from Hudson to Chapman and another full tenth from Chapman to Walker. And then your 3/10 back to Nate Siefker sitting in 4th. Then it tightens up a little bit. From Siefker to Mayato is less than a 10th. And Osmer nipping at the heels of Mark Walker, currently sitting in 7th spot. Using up all the track, coming onto the long straightaway here. And looks like Osmer had a course cut, so that lap's not going to count. Sam Cooper Bennett. Why do I not recognize that paint scheme? You killing me, Smalls. Sam currently sitting 14th quick. Last car to actually put up a time. And he got the kink pretty decent that time. Just a little burp and right back into it. And Siefker getting it all wrong. Let's see if that's going to flub up Cooper Bennett's lap. A little late apex action coming into the last right-hander, last right-hander, and catches the grass. Ouch. Morganti going into the uphill section under the Corvette bridge. See what type of lap we can see here. As the checkers are out, so these guys are going to be able to finish whatever lap they're on. The question is, did Danny Jones in the 51 start his lap in time? Morganti coming through the kink. Gets it woed down for that right-hander. Uses all the curbing through the S's. Nice and tidy through there. Late apex. And brushes the grass. So not sure if that lap is actually going to count for Morganti. Let's find out. Yes. All the way up to 10th on that flyer. So something to be proud of, Joe Morganti. As Hudson going quick time, 1:45, 1 minute 45 second, .128. That's moving. I still am trying to wrap my head around how somebody can go that quickly in this car. So, Justin Chapman, just a 10th off of him, 6/10 back from him to Chris Walker, and Nate Siefker currently sitting 4th quick, almost a full second off the pace. Galen Gidman, a full second off the pace. And Keith Mayato, just over a second off the pace. Then it tightens up a little bit. You've got Walker, Brinson, and Osmer in a nice tight grouping there, less than 10th separating those guys. And then you're almost a full second back to Joe Morganti, at which point the field tightens up again. You got Morganti and O'Brien. Then you've got Crumry, Tony Rice, Robert Dudley, and then Sam Cooper Bennett, the last car to actually put up a time. So field's starting to grid up here. I don't believe it's going to be a standing start. And it's not, because the pace car is sitting there. So starting up on the pole with an unofficial track record of 145, 128 is going to be Chase Hudson, joined with Justin Chapman. Row number 2 is going to see Chris Walker and Nate Siefker. Hopefully Siefker's got his connection issues worked out, as we've seen him struggle the past couple of weeks here. Row number 3, you're going to see Galen Gidman and Keith Mayato. Row 4 is going to go to Mark Walker and Scotty Brinson. Ronnie Osmer and Joe Morganti make up row number 5. Row 6 is Kevin O'Brien and Paul Crumry. Tony Rice and Robert Dudley are going to roll off in the 7th row. 8th row is going to go to Sam Cooper Bennett, who was the last car to actually take time. He's going to be joined, hopefully, with Carl Burke, although I'm not seeing Burke in the session right now. Then Danny Jones, Tyler Vickery, and that's going to about do it for us here tonight. You are watching a presentation of the Top Fuel Racing League DW12, or Top Fuel Racing Series DW12 Racing League. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if you like the action that you're seeing on the track, regardless of how choppy my internet is, thank you, Spectrum, for sucking so badly. Go ahead and drop a comment below with your iRacing screen name, and we'll get it passed along to the league admins to see if we can get you added into next week's action. For those of you who are fans of the Beaufort Broadcasting Company, would like to remind you that for the remainder of the week, Sam is going to be at Talladega, whereas I myself, tomorrow night, will be joining the International Sim Drivers Club with their Cup Series at Daytona. So, some new action going on, but it is Speed Weeks here. Go Fast will be back Friday nights with their Grand National Series at Dega. Sam's going to be there tomorrow night with the Somo Cup Series, brought to you by Portside Jaguar and Land Rover. And then Fridays, of course, Go Fast, and then Saturday is the Major League Esports K&N Series and the Paskies Cardiac Cup Series. And forgive me if I don't remember where the Cardiac Cup Series is this week, as Nate Siefker having connection issues again. Ouch. I'm guessing Nate's on the same internet provider that I'm on. Thanks, net neutrality. Do I sound bitter? Do I? Because I'm trying to. That's why I asked. So as the field works its way through the carousel, see Hudson and Chapman up there on the front row. Get some heat in the tires as they work their way through the kink area of the track. Allegedly, these cars do create enough downforce that you can take the kink flat out. Although, you got that little voice in the back of your head going, "Don't do it. It's not worth it." And for the most part, the little voice is usually right. It's discretion being the better part of valor. If you just give it a little burp to let the car take a set going into it, you're not going to lose a whole lot of time, unless the knuckleheads that you're racing around are going to flat-foot it through the kink. So the field working its way through the final corner. Pace car getting ready to duck on off. And we are going to be doing 75 minutes. Remind me to hurt Scott Brinson later. Anyways, pace car is in. Hudson has control of the field, and he picks up the throttle early.
Green flag, green flag.
Everybody trying to get sorted out. That second place battle with Walker and Chapman. As we've got some blinkers later in the field. Walker gets the spot away. Chapman's going to settle in for second currently. And so far, so good, as they went too wide through turn one. That's Morganti and Mark Walker. How they made it through there too wide, I have no idea. Oh! And that's what I was talking about. Morganti got in there just a tick too hot. Almost ran over Ronnie Osmer, then just climbed on the brakes even harder. And that's a rough one for Joe. Not how he wanted this race to start. Let's go back and take a look at that one again. And that's what I was talking about. Watch the white car, folks. White, black, and red. You see him carrying so much speed and just gets it all wrong. And, you know, Joe's the type of guy that he'd rather eat the wall himself than take somebody with him. So that's what he chose to do. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long night for Morganti in the 53. Good news is I got a good shot of SodaFix, and I'm being told that the folks from SodaFix are, you know, broadcasting all the replays here. Not probably how they wanted to have their car in shot, but hey, it is what it is. And Joe, I know you're going to battle back from this one, as Nate Siefker already in the pits. Let's go back and see if we can find out what happened with Siefker. Okay. That would explain why Steve Crew's in the pits. Connection issues again. Meanwhile, back up in front, let's go back live. Chase Hudson's starting to stretch his legs a little bit. He's already over 2 seconds to the good over Chris Walker, who is battling his daylights out with Chapman and Gidman. Throw a blanket over these three right now. And don't count out Keith Mayato, as he's the last car in this little freight train. Oh, Justin getting it wrong coming through the under the Speedville Bridge. Coming through the carousel. Please tell me they're not 2x2. No, they're not. They get sorted out. It's Chapman leading Gidman. Gidman going to try to use the draft coming through the kink area. The only problem is it's hard to get it under braking here and not put it off. And that was a hard fought one. Chapman was showing he was able to carry just more speed, because you go to the inside and you've got to get it wound down. You kill all your momentum. And here comes Keith Mayato as well into this fray now because of that move. Gidman going to be under attack relatively soon. Mayato kind of, lets him go a little bit. And it's one of those deals where, Keith's run so much full fendered stuff that he was expecting aero push and forgetting that these cars have a ton of underbody downforce as they come under the Sargento Bridge into the downhill again. So your top five really starting to string it out. Ronnie Osmer over 2 seconds back from these guys. But Chase Hudson's in another time zone right now, leading this thing. That's what 2 seconds looks like, folks. Hudson is almost 2.5 seconds to the good right now as he's coming through the carousel there, and there's Walker just starting it. You can just barely see Hudson in the shot sometimes. They can see him, but he's starting to stretch it out right now. And this battle for fourth with Mayato and Gidman is starting to really heat up. I almost got to think Gidman might be holding up Mayato. So Keith's going to try to get a good run coming out of the right-hander, letting it hang out. Going to use the draft into the uphill. And makes the pass before they get into the braking zone. And yes, that is what those cones are for on the side of the track. That's 100 or 300, 200, and 100 yards away. Or I'm sorry, feet. From corner entry. So Mayato through. Gidman hanging with him, though. Let's see what's going to happen here. And Ronnie Osmer creeping his way into this battle. And you are watching the battle for fourth place right now, as Justin Chapman starting to fade back off of Chris Walker just a tick. And just as I say it, he is all over Walker's transmission tunnel right now. Going to be able to get a good draft if he gets a good run off this last corner. Going to be able to get a good pull up the long straightaway. almost 3-mile-an-hour difference for Chapman right now. Thinks about going to the inside, thinks better of it, though. And while that is a passing zone, it's a little late to try to be making that move. Because you're carrying so much speed, and you got to get it woed down and turned. So you saw Hudson go flash by. He's 3 seconds to the good right now. So right now, it's Chase Hudson's race to lose.
User was moved to your channel.
And joining us now in the booth, the Heartbreak Kid himself, Mr. Nate Seifker. Nate, sounds like you and I have similar internets. I'm guessing Spectrum?
No, it's Dell. That's the issue. Something with my motherboard, of course. That done it again. So unfortunate. So
dude, you got a Dell. My condolences.
I know.
Yeah, I know exactly where part of my paycheck this week's going, and that's going to be going into two brand new RAM sticks, as the RAM seems to be the key to getting iRacing to run properly. And I had one crap the bed the other day, so yeah. So I feel your pain, my friend. But right now we're watching this these cars start to get strung out. Justin Chapman had a good run going on Chris Walker, and just basically he's letting it go. As Osmer, the two Napa cars starting to battle it out right now. Osmer in the 44, and of course it's Galen Gidman in the 94. These guys are going to start to heat things up with the battle for fifth.
Yeah, Ronnie's. I was in his team speak earlier, and he felt pretty okay about this racetrack. He didn't have any major concerns, but he also didn't have very much praise for this racetrack, so it ought to be interesting to see how he does later on.
Well, I'd also like to point out that the last time Ronnie was here in a series race, it was in an Xfinity. As he takes it across the grass, it was in an Xfinity car, and he hit everything except the pace car and the flag stand.
Well, I know some people who can actually hit the pace car, so I could believe that.
Well, I've been in races before where somebody's hidden in the pace car just because they could. Here comes the lucky dog, seeing that, everybody else is kind of in line. They go to blast through the pace car, and next thing you know, there's a calamity.
Oh, yeah.
We've all kind of been there. As a matter of fact, I would like to invite everybody this coming week 13, which I believe is in 3 weeks.
I honestly don't know. I don't have a clue, actually.
If I could have you check and see where they are in the iRacing schedule for me. The next week 13 that comes up for iRacing, we will be doing at least one special broadcast of Bottom Split Bingo. And for those of you who have never done Bottom Split Bingo, what we will do is we'll post the link to the bingo cards on the BOFA Broadcasting Facebook page. Those, of course, were the bingo cards were created by our sister from another mister, Miss Layla Wilson. And there are some of the funniest things. What you do is you go into the bottom split of rookie street stocks, and every time you hear or see whatever is on whichever bingo card you choose to play off of, if you hear or see whatever, you check off your box. First one to get a bingo wins. There's been some week 13 races where we weren't even out of hot laps. Gidman gets it all wrong and collects Osmer. And that was what I was talking about, folks. Coming over that crest, coming under the Corvette bridge, if you don't have all your braking done before you get to the bridge, that's what can happen. And Gidman just got it all wrong. And unfortunately, Osmer nowhere to go.
Just looks like too much rear brake in that car there. And then Ronnie comes on the scene, and it's a difficult corner to place your car, and it looks like he just locked it up trying to avoid it and couldn't quite do it.
Well, you're cresting a hill and then immediately going into an off-camber left-hander. where the vast majority of the rest of the corners on this track are right-handers. So you figure you've got a little bit of, and Osmer's going to need to pit soon to get that wing fixed, because that was all aero push right there. But you crest that corner and you go into an off-camber left-hander where most of the corners are right-handers. So you've got a little bit of chassis weight bias to the right side at this track. So, the car is already fighting itself weight balance-wise, non-aero balance. And then you throw in the off-camberness of it, and if you don't get it right, it goes horribly wrong horribly quickly.
Yeah, that corner has a lot of issues with any car, it seems like. So, they talked about in real life smoothing that turn out, but I don't think they actually did that. So,
no, they have not, only because it's one of the characteristics of this track. And we saw at the beginning of the race, Joe Morganti, who was the first retirement of the cars that. No, I'm sorry, you were unfortunately. No, did you take the green?
I did, yeah. I made it about a half a lap before everyone wanted to go to the sky and become aliens.
Well, shortly before you made it to the Speedville Bridge. Morganti made it to the downhill just before the Corvette Bridge, and almost clobbered Ronnie Osmer because he was carrying so much speed into that downhill. And that's something you really got to be mindful of. And, Morganti just kind of let it get away from him and ate the wall rather than taking Ronnie with him.
Yeah, that's a turn that you got to hit your braking point right on, so it doesn't surprise me that happened.
Well, it's so easy to do there. But, and it looks like Sam Cooper Bennett's already taken it pit side once. As Osmer peeling off to go pit side, charging up the hill, gets it locked up, gets right down to the 45 miles an hour on pit road here. That's got to feel like you're crawling.
It is, trust me.
Well, let's check in with my normal broadcast partner as coming into the kink section now. Did Sam throw new paint on the car this week? Because I'm not recognizing that paint scheme.
He said he did, yes. So new paint scheme for him. I think he said something about Great Britain and Ireland. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I'm not on them, but
okay, that would explain the color combination. There's the Union Jack on that side. There's the tricolor. Okay, so he's got the Union Jack on one side of the car. He's got the tricolor on the other side. That is a sharp looking paint scheme, and that's the one thing I've really got to give Sam credit for, is he really knows how to paint these open wheel cars. If you're looking for an open wheel paint scheme at a reasonable price, you can find Sam on his Facebook page. I'm sure that you guys can, between the two, whomever you are and Sam, you guys can probably come up with a deal to get Sam Cooper Bennett to paint your whip for you. Definitely some sharp paint schemes. As gonna go a lap down here, as looks like he may have had some wing damage on that car. So, and Robert Dudley's into the pits as well, missing a front wing. Not a good situation.
by the way, we are on week 7 of 12. So
you can in iRacing meet.
Yeah, so we got a little ways to go then.
5 more weeks.
But meanwhile, this battle for a second is starting to heat up a little bit, it looks like.
Yes, it is. Chapman has reeled back in Chris Walker. Looks like he's let those tires cool off a little bit. Nice and tidy through the off-camber left-hander. And
you can't go very many laps on a fuel run, so you're probably not going to see a whole lot of people fluctuating their strategy. You're going to see probably everyone pit in 2 laps tonight.
Okay. So it's going to be a 2-stop race, you're telling me?
From what I figured, we're running, so let's do the math here for our viewers here. We're running a 145. That's a pretty fast lap around here. So let's do an average lap of 150. And this is a 75-minute race. So if you do 150 times that by, let's go with 40, as I'll do the math here in my calculator. Give me a second here.
Well, according to the tattletale that is ATVO, we've got the graphic up on the screen right now that we are 34 laps to go. Make that 33.
See, we were guesstimating in the actual server that it was going to be a 38 to 40. I actually never did the math, so I'm not 100% sure, actually.
Well, with you aliens cranking off your 145s, Jesus, how the hell are you guys doing that? You know, the aliens that are leading this damn thing cranking off consistent 145s, I might add. We're looking at about a 43-lap race.
So, yeah, I mean...
If they maintain the current pace, that is.
Yeah, I just did a 2-minute lap just to, you know, that's kind of close to... Oh, Chapman. Oh, Chapman's got it wrong.
And bangs, that's going to mess up the drive on that car.
Yeah, the rear wing is skewed on that thing.
And you can see the right rear Kardashian as he comes through the... Wow. Kim got one of her butt cheeks popped.
Apparently she's trying to break the internet again, I heard, so...
Oh.
Or Chapman's got it wrong again here. He's struggling, looks like.
That's the side of the car that he hit on, so anything that's going to be a left-hander, he's going to be struggling with. Because I'm thinking he's got suspension damage.
I'm sure he does with the way he hit that thing.
Very much so. And so, we're going to know as soon as he gets to the S's coming up here. Right here is going to be the tattletale. Tiptoes through there. And you can tell he's fighting the daylights out of the car as Scotty Brinson is reeling him in quick.
He's probably every bit of a couple 10 mile an hour at the pace that entire lap, so he lost quite a bit of time, plus using a fast repair and going off sequence here. This could be his race right here.
You're not wrong, and that's a rough one. Because, you know, he was one of those cars to watch during the hot laps and during qualifying. So, two of the favorites already out of this thing. You being in the booth with me, having set quick time in practice. So
yeah, let's talk about that lap that Chase set in qualifying. I don't know how he pulled that off.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He's already got fast lap of the race at a 1:45.4 on race pace.
And in practice, he said, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think he set a time in the 145s in practice.
I don't know. The best I've ever been able to do here was in the Williams Formula One car, and that was on full song. I was just barely able to get it right around where you guys are putting a DW12. But arguably, I'm not a road racer, so.
Good point. Yeah, this track is
put me on a short track in that car, and I'll whoop your ass.
Well, Chase is pitting here, so pit stops are beginning.
There it goes. Your leader is in. Is Walker going to stay out?
Well, everyone's pitting here. Walker's pitting. Mateo's pitting. It's going to be interesting to see if Brinson pits here.
Probably. Yup, he is. No. Yeah, he is.
Oh, Brinson pits, yep.
So, Mayato, of the 2 weeks that he's been with the league, talk about two tracks of trial by fire. You know, he picks the tricky triangle to debut in the league, and then goes... And what the heck happened to Ronnie Osmer? Osmer's towing.
See if I can... Oh, he disconnected. He took it behind the wall here. Oh, he just lost it under turn 4, the Corvette turn. I don't know if you're able to see that or not.
Yeah, we're watching it, watching the replay now. what happened before that to cause that. Just getting it all wrong, and it looks like Osmer going to call it there. As Hudson back out on track, 6 seconds to the good. Let that sink in for a moment, folks. He's 6 seconds to the good when you're cranking off 1 minute and 45-second lap times. You can't even see Chris Walker in the shot anywhere.
And I'll just say this probably isn't his most dominant performance. He's won races before by 45 seconds, so this is nothing for him.
Well, here's one thing we are going to do, because I'm being told by the boys in the truck that we do have a GoPro mounted to Chris Walker's helmet. So we are going to follow along with Chris for a lap or so here, as he's finally got some heat into those tires. He can really start to bust one out here. Coming into the final right-hander. And let's just watch as Chase Hudson, goes to work. And just watch how much speed he carries into this downhill section. That if you don't get your braking zone right, that would have been so easy to get that wrong. And you see him late brake and then fight the wheel as he crests the hill into the switchback. Gets it all wrong just before the Speedville Bridge. Able to correct it though. Lost 2 full seconds on that whole exchange with Chase Hudson. Coming through the kink now. No sign of lift out of Hudson there. Into the right-hander, into the S's. And I believe that's Robert Dudley in front of him? And that's what a lap looks like from your leader.
That was still, with that little hiccup there, a 146.5. So that's pretty impressive still.
Very impressive. And that is Sam Cooper Bennett directly in front of your leader. And I do know Sam told me yesterday that he doesn't care what happens, but he just wants to finish the race.
Yeah, Chase is probably doing the same lines and the braking points as I am. The difference between me and Chase was Chase just somehow carries that little bit more speed in the apex. He carries about 2. Sam's getting the grass here.
I think he was just trying to get the hell out of the way, and I don't blame him for that one. It's one of those deals where you know the leader's coming. The last thing you want to do is be in front of the leader going through the carousel and into the kink. Because if you do happen to step on your own junk, you don't want to be that guy.
Never want to be that guy.
But getting back to what we were talking about earlier with the whole bottom split bingo thing. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to do at least one pavement race and at least one dirt race during week 13. And we're going to pick the bottom split of rookie street stocks in both genres. And then everybody's going to pick their bingo card. And then, You kind of keep your own score, and if something on your bingo card gets said or done, you mark it off. And there's been a couple of times where we've done bottom split bingo, and before we've even been out of the practice section, 4 people have gotten a bingo. At which point, it goes into a coverall for the race. So, during that time, you can also make it into a little more fun. People say that you don't need alcohol to have a good time. You don't need running shoes to run a marathon, but it helps. But no, I kid. But yeah, that's something to look forward to during week 13, bottom split bingo. For the rest of the week, it is going to be speed weeks here at Bofa Broadcasting, as tomorrow night the Somo Cup Series is going to be going to Talladega. Sam's going to be leading up that broadcast. I'm going to be heading to Daytona with the International Sim Drivers Club with their season opener in their Cup Series. Then we're going to be back at Dega on Friday with the Go Fast Go Fast Grand National Series. And Saturday night, Sam's going to be back at Dega, and I forget where the hell I'm going to be with Pocono. I'll be at the Tricky Triangle with the Sam's going to be there with the Major League Esports K&N Series, and I will be at the Pocono Tricky Triangle again with the Paskey Sports Cardiac Cup Series, brought to you by XS Sim Gear. So a lot of action left this week, a lot of viewers' choice happening this week, and then I believe, and don't quote me on this, Sunday will be the inaugural Bofa Broadcasting broadcast for the Indy Speedway League IR18 series. So a lot of interesting stuff happening this week, as the closest battle on the track right now is Paul Crumry in the 7-Up number 8, which we need to talk to Paul and Chase and have those two switch numbers, because that's just annoying. Either that or we need to find Paul a new sponsor. And that, of course, is Tyler Vickery directly in front of him.
I'm looking at the last between Chris and Chase, and Chris is gaining on Chase here. It's slowly but surely, but he's gaining on him.
Well, he's eaten into that lead a little bit. As you can see him, there he is in the green car, just coming up the hill now. So from 6 seconds to the good, down to under 4.5.
Give you a sense of how quick these guys are going. Hudson just set a 45.8. Walker with the 45.6. So Walker's still laying it on him.
Walker's still laying it on him, and these guys are, they're I don't think either one of them knows the meaning of the word quit. So if you would like to donate to the GoFundMe for buying Chase Hudson and Chris Walker dictionaries, you can send your checks or money orders to buy a dictionary at P.O. Box OU812, Tampa, Florida. And if you believe that, I've got some swampland in Ocala that I can sell you. Or would you prefer the bridge that I have in Brooklyn? It's your choice.
I'll take the bridge.
Fair enough. Got another one in Long Island that's for sale. Anyways, let's get back to the young gunner. That could have ended poorly. Who the heck was that?
Dudley's in the wall.
That was
out of 12, I think.
Yep, that was Dudley losing it right in front of Vickery. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, because I've not followed a lot of Indy racing in the last couple of seasons, but
Okay.
I'm recognizing the paint scheme that's on Vickery's car.
Yep, you are.
Is that a Milcaduno paint scheme?
I believe it is. It's a very popular paint scheme, actually, in tradie paints. Because I about ran it a couple times.
Until you realized who it was, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Beautiful paint scheme, not a beautiful driver.
Well, now hold on, because she is an attractive lady.
Okay, I'm not saying that aspect. I'm saying as in her talents on the racetrack.
Her talents on the racetrack. If you held a gun to my head and said, pick someone to put in your car, and my choices were She Who Shall Not Be Named or Milcaduno, I will pick She Who Shall Not Be Named.
I think I'd gladly take her. She Who Will Not Be Named.
Because she at least has an IndyCar win.
Yeah, that was based off fuel mileage, so to me that don't count.
Hey, Ronnie Osmer got his first win in the Top Fuel Racing Series based on a fuel mileage race.
True, but to me, fuel mileage races, the driver doesn't win. It's the engineer on top of the box who wins it.
Well, you're not wrong. But hey, it all looks the same in the box score.
Exactly.
Anyways, unfortunately, folks, forgive us if we're just talking smack right now, because the closest battle on the track right now, as effed up as this sounds, is between Tony Rice and Sam Cooper Bennett. And know what you're saying. There goes Sam flashing by there. So there's Tony, and you'll see Sam there. That's the closest battle on the track right now at 3 seconds.
I think we did just throw a random caution. I think there's see a bit of debris off of turn 6 here, so I think we need to throw that caution just to.
If I had
sure.
If I had admin capabilities, I would consider it. Just because somebody threw a sandal on the track. Oh wait, no, that was Montreal, Cirque de Jacques Villeneuve, and that was an Xfinity race.
And She Who Will Not Be Named ran over it.
Ran over it, nothing. It went through her. That went right through her radiator.
Oh yeah.
And Sam Cooper Bennett getting it wrong in turn 3, getting it collected back up though.
Meanwhile, that's about all the action we can provide with you with right now.
It's Chris Walker flirting with disaster under the Speedville Bridge, coming through the carousel. Now, for those of you who've never been on this track, the carousel is very deceptive. You feel like you can push it harder than you can, and it will bite you quickly because it's actually a decreasing radius turn.
Yeah, it's really tricky. In fact, I was watching this interview with Robert Wickens. He had to fill in for Michael Lotion, if you don't remember.
Yep.
Last year, and he in his interview, I'm pretty sure the carousel's flat. I'm like, what? No, it's not. And I just blew me by surprise. I want his setup if he can go flat in the carousel, because I definitely can't.
If you're going flat through the carousel, you're not going fast enough. And I'll say that to any team owner out there, that if your driver says, yeah, I'm taking the carousel flat, your driver's not going fast enough going into or out of the carousel.
Maybe in one of those fantasy Red Bull cars they had in Gran Turismo that has basically limited downforce, maybe, but
no, even in that car, you can't flat foot through the carousel. And trust me, I've tried it.
Yeah, I didn't have Gran Turismo. Never had a PlayStation.
Well, it's one of the cars that you could download for R Factor.
Ah, okay. Don't have R Factor either, so.
Yeah, it was one of those cars that you could download, and even in that car, you couldn't. I don't care how much you tweaked on the physics of the car. That if you went into a session with the car, it would boot you out. There's no way to take the carousel flat foot. Meanwhile, the two guys at the front of this field are still throwing bombs at each other. The only two guys left still going into the 45s. And that was flirting with disaster there. Chris Walker really trying to get one. Just ever so slightly getting into the sand.
So even though Chris has been gaining time this entire run, it looks like on very marginally.
No, he's actually he's backed it up. It's now 6 seconds to the good for Hudson. So I'm thinking Walker may have used a lot of the goodie off his tires as Hudson goes 145.282 in race trim.
Yeah, that just shows that it's not, Walker who's the slow one. It's definitely Chase who's the fast one. I mean,
it's 9
Walker
laps into a run. He just ripped off a 145.2.
And Walker said a 145.6. So, I mean, it's not like we're talking here, Chris is losing tons of time. He's running consistent lap times. We're just talking about Chase blitzing a lap off here.
I mean, come on, Chase. Leave some on the table for the rest of us, will you? What the hell? I just...
We're getting close to pit stops here, about 4 or 5 laps too here. So
what are you saying? 10 to 11 laps is about all this fuel tank's good for?
about 13, but I've done the math, and we're looking at if you can really save some fuel, maybe a 2-stopper. This might be the money stop if you can really save your fuel.
Because we're only 9 laps in right now. So if you're saying 13 at the far end, we're still between 3 and 4 laps away.
Right, but I mean, I'm thinking a really, really long 2-stop, and unfortunately, some drivers might be pitting with a couple laps to go, and it might be a 3-stop.
Well, you're not wrong. Now, one of the guys we haven't talked a lot about, but he's still one of only 5 drivers in the race who have gone 145, and he's clicking off consistent low 146s. It's Keith Mayato. Now, Keith, you're going to recognize from some of the other broadcasts that we've done with the full fendered stuff. This is only his second ever DW12 race. And that includes not having run any official stuff either. So Keith bought the car to come race at Pocono last week. Let that sink in, folks. And he's currently sitting 3rd.
Yeah, sometimes it's harder for us to learn different stuff with the cars and the tracks. But with Keith, he's got a fresh start. He's got a blank canvas to work on. So, some aspects, it's easier for him. But then a lot of aspects still, it's harder because he doesn't understand how the car works. But there's some things that, Keith will do just fine with. And he's proving that right.
Well, think about it this way. He's coming from the full fendered side of iRacing, where, in the Cup cars, in the Xfinity cars, in the trucks, in the K&N cars, you don't have anywhere near the grip or downforce that you do in the DW12.
Yep.
So for Keith, come to a place like this, he's able to bomb it in there way harder than he ever thought possible in any other car.
And that helps him too with, tire conservation. He knows how to conserve his tires probably better than everybody else. So you also have to think about that too.
Well, the question is, what's going to happen here? Because we're 20 to go right now. I don't think, and Keith just busted off. Okay, Keith just went 145.9. Justin Chapman just went 145.3. And he's in the pits. So, these guys still aren't giving up. Chapman right now, sitting in 5th as he's in the pits, has the second fastest lap of the race. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of this with the fact that these guys are just flat getting it, and they're getting it this late into a fuel run.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to say that. I'm just trying to. Ooh, Chase has about lost it in the braking zone there. Wow, that was a great save.
Lost it and then got his mojo right back at it. It doesn't look like it affected him much.
As he's coming to pit here, so it's shorter than we thought, I guess.
Oh, that's 11 laps there. So I'm thinking he's thinking 2 more stops.
Yeah, he's thinking short pit option here because that's why they're doing this here. Is they're probably thinking, we can't. This isn't going to be the money stop. We're going to get the best out of the tires here. I bet that's what everyone's thinking now because here comes my auto.
It's got to be. And the other thing for my auto too is it's got to be weird to have that button on your steering wheel that you don't have to worry about speeding in pit road as long as that button works.
Exactly. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's a couple of tracks out there where the cones are later than you think they are, and you hit the button too soon. As Hudson down 9.3, Walker 9.9, my auto 9.9. Scotty Brinson's in right now.
It's going to be interesting to see how big the gap is when they come to the line here.
Well, as of right now, it's 6.2. 6.2 from Hudson to Walker, and then from Walker to Mayato is 10.1.
Locking up the rears a lot. He just did it again. I mean, Chase is having some difficulties with the brakes, it looks like.
Well, I'm thinking like a lot of road racers, that at least the ones that I've spoken to, he's got a lot of rear bias dialed into this car to kind of help get it turned in. That whole threshold braking thing. You give it just a right as those rear wheels start to lock, you release the brake pedal and start your turn in, and then catch it. Kind of like a dirt car, but on pavement and a lot more scary. Because these cars don't like to drift.
No, they do not.
Don't ask me how I found that out.
See, personally, I like a car that's got a planted front end, so I put a lot of front brake into it. That's how I like my car personally. So. Well,
it's kind of like, and for those of you wondering what we're talking about, the difference is,
Chris had a mistake somewhere. He's 13 seconds back now.
Yes, he did. Keith Mayato is back in the pits. What the hell happened there? Did Mayato get busted for speeding out? That's what it looks like. Mayato busted for speeding out.
And as I go back to Walker, he just clipped the inside curbing in the Corvette turn and spun it. That's like he didn't just spin it because he lost it. He clipped the inside curbing.
Well, that's very easy to do in that corner. But getting back to what we were talking about with the whole, whether you like to have more rear bias or more front bias, it kind of reminds me of the first motorcycle I bought. I was torn between. I wanted to buy a Honda. Don't hold it against me. But I was either going to buy the 900RR or the Shadow 1800. And the salesman looked at me. He goes, "Well, let me ask you this question: do you want to go head first into the tree or feet first into the tree?"
I'd rather go feet first.
And I just looked at him. I went, "Huh?" He goes, "You're gonna hit a tree. Every rider puts it down. do you want to go head first into the car that's going to pull out in front of you, or do you want to go feet first into the car that's going to pull out in front of you? And it dawned on me what he was talking about. Rather than buying a crotch rocket where you're basically your head is leading the way, I kind of wanted my feet to lead the way, so I at least had a chance to. I could live the rest of my life in a wheelchair if I had to, but that's kind of the way that the braking is set up on these cars. Is, do you want to go ass first into the wall, or do you want to go feet first into the wall? I'd rather go feet first into the wall. Because at least I know if I set more front brake, I know if I get on the brakes too hard, the car's just not going to turn. Whereas if I set too much rear brake, the car's going to snap around on me, and then I've really got to be on top of it, and I don't have quick hands.
Trying to find a battle on track that's
That makes two of us.
entertaining.
We're
struggling.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 14 seconds from Hudson to Walker. There's another 20 seconds from Walker to Chapman. You're another 17 and a half back to Scotty Brinson. And then you're another 15 to Keith Mayato. Another 13 to Mark Walker. Tyler Vickery, the last car on the lead lap, is 23 seconds off of Walker. And then Johnson, Rice, Crumry, Bennett, and O'Brien are all one lap down, but there's a 6-second gap, a 9-second gap, a 9-second gap, and a 40-second gap. So yeah, let the games begin.
Trying to see if there's a driver that's more entertaining than others. Looks like Sam Cooper Bennett's had those incidents in the race at 21. And in this league, you do get for 4 incidents, you get a penalty point. So at the moment, Sam's got 5 penalty points.
I'm thinking that Sam's not worried about penalty points as much as he is just finishing the race.
Staying out of the way, too. So
yeah, he just wants to finish the race. And I can't say I blame him on that one.
I was like, oh, who was that just went, that Chase went by? Dudley's in the grass again, it seems like.
Yes, just before the Speedville Bridge. Dudley back in the grass, and that's second place Chris Walker flashing by him.
I just now realized that he has a rookie license in the roadside, so.
Yeah. The thing is, though, with the way that iRacing has been doing their licensing as of late, I and feel free to get your hate mail coming, folks, because I've gotten to the point where I've stopped caring, where you've got guys that just crank through the licenses. Oh yeah, I got my A. Dude, you can't drive your way out of a wet paper bag.
Yep.
They just worry about getting that license level up, and they don't learn how to run too wide without killing everybody. They don't learn how to make a clean pass without taking out the leader. They don't learn things that you need to know to be an effective iRacer. And then you've got guys, and I'm guilty of this myself. I got my A just to say I got my A, and I've run, I think, 4 official races in the last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the screwed up part was one of those was the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona. Which I might add, it'll be a long time before I do another endurance race like that. Simply because I worked all day and then came home, and one of our team, it was supposed to be 2 guys were supposed to have the day shift, and then Tyler Vickery and I were supposed to have the night shift, because we were working during the day. Well, as it turned out, one of our teammates in the Mercedes, his router took a shit. So one of the two guys that was supposed to have the day shift drove 9 hours straight. Tyler got home from work before I did. He immediately jumps in the car. I said, okay, I'm going to grab a bite to eat and take a nap. I'll see you in a couple minutes. I woke up and it's like 5 hours later. And oh crap! So I go to relieve Tyler. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap too." And I start my shift. I did probably 4 or 5 hours, and got to the point where my feet went numb. And
See, personally, I've never done an endurance race, so I don't know. I'd love to do one. Like a period and crap out Daytona, I would love to do one, or Le Mans. That's why I need another computer. But, I think that, you got to have people in your actual team that are going to, be there when you need them to be there,
Well, that was, the thing is, like, the first one that I did, it was myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, Kevin Paskowich, who you all have heard here on both broadcasting, and a guy that we were running with at the time. And it was actually the same guy whose router took a poo at Daytona. I was in the session to spot, and the race starts. I was like, "Dude, where are you?" "I'm on the track." "Oh, you're not. It's not counting laps." "Oh crap!" So he comes in, pits, jumps out of the car. I jump in. We're 3 laps down, and we haven't turned a lap yet. I'm like, okay, great. So, and then I did my stint. KP came on. Luckily, Mark Vega got his router fixed, and the 4 of us between Vega, Paskowich, Cooper Bennett, and myself, we each did a stint. One stint, and then we'd switch. One stint, then we'd switch. And this was at Spa, and it started out being, how far can we take this, to we got a chance to be in top 15. We got a chance to be in top 10 in our split, and we just barely squeaked one out. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. But you hit the nail on the head. You've got to be with a group that everybody's got to. That's got to be the only thing that they're there to concentrate on all day, is that. If you've got to work during one of those races, it's not going to work out for your team.
Nope. See, I've always thought of it as you need someone to talk to in endurance racing, because just in case if something happens, you got someone to go into. So. Well,
that's why the way that we had it set up was, one person was going to be in the car, one person was going to be spotting for them. And then when there was, a couple laps left, or, about halfway through the stint, whoever was spotting was supposed to telephone the next person to get them awake, give them time to, go have a BM, maybe grab a quick bite to eat, and then get logged into the session. And then when it came time to fuel and change tires, we did a driver switch, and whoever was spotting became the driver. The new person into the session became the spotter, and then the driver got a couple hours off. So that way, there's always 2 people in the session.
This kind of turned into a little podcast we got going on with this race that we're watching.
Well, that's about all you can do when you've got a leader that's 16 seconds to the good. And that's your nearest battle on the track.
See, I don't know how many of our viewers know who MD Box is, but he recently came out with a video about licenses and safety rating, and it nails it right on the head.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, it's a system that has to be a no-fault system, because a computer can't tell who's at fault.
Right.
But it's not necessarily appropriate for, let's say, leagues,
right?
Or like B or A class races, Then if you have an issue with someone, then you take it to the stewards. Because if you're in A class, you should at least know how to drive around people.
You should, and that goes back to the whole 24 hours of Daytona thing. The team that Ronnie and Sam were on, one of their teammates was in the Corvette DP trying to pass.
Here, I got some action. Scott in a chrome ride just went through the grass.
Well, the thing is, there's a lap separating the two of them, but yeah, those two got almost tangled up there.
Synchronized going off there.
And Crumry is having problems. He is just way overdriving that car right now. But getting back to the story, the team that it was Ronnie Osmer, Sam Cooper Bennett, and a couple other people. One of their teammates was in the DP at the time, coming through the tri-oval, and they were down towards the yellow line, making a pass on I believe it was GT3 car, and the GT3 car just turned right down into them. And I've never seen a Corvette DP barrel roll before until I saw the video of that one.
And that's what the protest system is for, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the best part was the guy who hit them blamed them for it. You need to learn how to pass. Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
You just made a 3-lane change, and what the hell?
A lot of people don't realize that there is an art to lapping cars, and Indy cars, and NASCARs, and endurance racing, and global Mazda. No matter the car, there's an art to lapping people, and a lot of people don't understand it. You can just, I'm gonna go right by him. He needs to move out of the way. No. It's it's the responsibility of the passing car. A lot of people think it's the guy that's getting past responsibility.
Okay, but let me put this question out to you, Nate. If you're in a car that averages 3 to 5 seconds a lap quicker in non-capable hands, and in capable hands can run up to 10 seconds quicker, you're in the fast car. The car that you're coming up on to pass is way up by the wall at Daytona, coming into the tri-oval. You're down towards the apron, and you don't move off the apron until they come down and hit you. Who's at fault?
Well, that's 100% the car who comes down that 5 lanes. I said, who is that? My auto just spun it there.
Where the hell is my auto? There he is. Let's back that one up and take a look. Coming out of the kink. I can't see who that is in front of him, though.
It's Dudley.
He got too much of the grass and tried to put the power down. Got it collected back up, though.
But back to what I was saying, you gotta find the good ones. The people who know how to lap people. The LMP1 gods. Andre Laudier.
True story.
Mark Webber, when he was an LMP1, they knew how to lap people. And you do it because knowing where the GTEs and the GT3s are much slower than you, and getting them on the entries of the corners, in the exits. You never want to pass a car or lap a car in the middle of the turn.
Well,
never.
Here's a funny story about the Daytona race. Mark Webber, who does have an iRacing license, was in third split.
Because he more than likely doesn't use iRacing that often.
He's got a 5,000 iRating.
What? That was a third split?
And that was third split.
See, he had to have some people who don't usually do iRacing.
If you didn't have a 6,000 iRating on the roadside, you weren't in the top 2 splits.
I mean, it does. The way endurance racing works on iRacing is it combines everyone's. Who's that? Vickery just loops it in the Corvette turn, gets it back going now.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's whoever signs up for the session, whoever qualified the car.
Oh, as Rice just flew through the gravel. And we're seeing a little bit more action than we thought we would.
Well, let's take it back and see what happened with Tony Rice here. Just flat out overcooks it. Forgot there was a corner there. Been there, done that.
See, I thought it was everybody's combined iRating.
No, because it doesn't know who the rest of the people on your team are.
Ooh, good point.
So it's whoever qualifies the car and starts the race. That's what it goes off of. So that was wild to me to hear that Mark Webber was not. It was Webber and who's the Aussie kid that?
Hartley.
No. The Aussie kid that holds the record at Bathurst.
Scott McLaughlin.
No, in a GT3 car.
Oh, I don't know that.
I don't think it's Webber. Anyways, the young kid, he was in third split as well. And I was like, are you kidding me? Who the hell's in first split then? But endurance racing is a it's a skill set all unto its own. And Brinson reeling in Walker. But it's a skill set all unto its own, and you really need to be with a group of people that understand what the team goals are, and your team needs to have set goals. And the reason I'm saying this is because there are some endurance races coming up, one of which, and as messed up as this sounds to me, they're not doing the normally it's usually a week or two before the real life race is when they have the iRacing version of whatever race it is. However, they're not doing the 24 Hours of Le Mans until the end of August, which makes everybody want to believe that...
Ooh, Walker just went through the grass, and here comes Brinson.
Yep.
We got a battle!
We do have a battle.
We got a battle!
Yay! He goes through the grass again. And I wasn't live. But anyways, as Brinson gets by going into one and makes it stick somehow. That's why Brinson's on fresher tires. It's Chase Hudson taking it pit side. So that's going to be the money stop for Hudson. Walker bringing it pit side as well. But, your team has to have... You have to set what your goals are. If you guys have never been in an endurance race before, your goal we're going to go out and win it. No. Just survive it. Survive the first 23 hours and then figure out where you are and what you can do from there.
Just taking a quick back through the field, I noticed a little while ago Cooper Bennett smashed the inside wall into turn 3 in the braking zone, but just by locking up the rear. So probably too far back to go look at that, but
yeah, it'll take a while to find it.
But since we're
User was moved to your
We're
channel.
racing.
Speaking of my brother from another mother, let's reach out and talk to Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett. Sam, we were just talking about endurance racing while we were looking for some battles, and you're on the track.
Yeah, I enjoy endurance racing. One of my favorite parts of iRacing.
Well, you're a sadist, so of course you enjoy staying up for 25 to 26 hours at a rip.
Of course I'm a sadist. Did you see my paint scheme?
I have to say, Sam, and I'll say this again, some of the most beautiful paint schemes in all of the open wheel series of iRacing. If anybody is looking for a very well presented paint scheme for their IndyCar or prototype car, Sam is definitely your guy. You can find him on his Facebook page, Sam Cooper Bennett on Facebook.
Yep. Yeah, I'm 0 for 4 for races now. I'm just retired again, so.
Did you actually bin it, or?
Yeah, I binned it going into, I can't remember which corner it was now. I think it was
Turn
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 4,
three.
yeah.
Turn three. My bad.
Yeah, turn 3. Yeah, I locked up the brakes trying to stay ahead of a.
Justin Chapman is in trouble, boys.
Oh yeah.
Keith Mayato right on his transmission tunnel right now.
And we're getting to that stage where we're thinking about pit stops too. So
Well, they've already pit. Well, Mayato still needs to pit. Chapman is fresh out of the pits, and there it is. So that's going to give Chapman some breathing room as...
well, remember what lap they pitted on? They pitted on lap 24, 25. We're 13 laps into that now. So
well, we're 6 to go right now.
unless the people really pushed it.
Yeah, Keith's in pit road now.
Keith went 13 laps. And Keith is on pit road now. So there goes our only battle on the track that's in the single digits. Everybody else, 10 seconds or more. Actually, from Chase Hudson to Chris Walker, 21 seconds.
O'Brien's in the wall somewhere.
Where the heck is O'Brien? On pit road. Missing a front wing.
Yeah, he just binned it.
That's a pretty good binning too, I'd say.
I can't even find him.
That's a shame because I was fighting with him for a top 10 as well.
But since we are racing Indy cars here, let's talk about the Indy 500 coming up.
Oh, he got the kink all wrong. And there's our first one of the night, folks. Thank God this is a simulator. That car, wow. That was rough.
TOAST, toast.
Yeah, I believe he's already used his fast repair as well, so I'm guessing that's his race done now.
But yeah, Indy 500 coming up. Month of May, probably one of my favorite months of the year for two reasons. One being the Oswego Speedway in upstate New York finally opens, and the Brickyard gets to see a ton of action this month.
Absolutely, and in the simulation world, the iRacing Indy 500 is coming up, and Phenomenal Evolution, we're already started getting going on preparations for that as well.
Okay. So, Sam, here's the other thing I was mentioning earlier, and we were going through the schedule this week. Tomorrow, you're going to be at Dega with the Portside Jaguar Land Rover Somo Cup Series, and I will be going to Daytona with the International Sim Drivers Club Cup Series.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see the Somo guys take it to the Super Speedway, because it's going to be the first time we see those guys on that kind of track this season, because I think we joined them a bit too late to catch them at Daytona.
We did. We actually joined them in race 2 this past season.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how they get on at Talladega.
And then it's also the debut of the ISDC. Will and his guys, going cup racing this season on Thursday nights. So I've known Will forever from running with him and some of those guys in Roadkill and in the old Kart Retro series. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can translate their skills to the full-fendered side of iRacing. Then Friday night we're going to be back at Dega with the Go Fast Grand National Series. Grand National Series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be one. They always put on one hell of a show, and I don't think it's going to be any exception this Friday.
Well, if what they did at Daytona was any indication, when you give them a little bit more space to make some room, or a little bit more space to make some runs at each other, I'm thinking that it's going to be one hell of a battle. And then you're going to be back at Dega on Saturday with the Major League Esports K&N series.
Yep.
And I will be going to the Tricky Triangle with the Paskey's Sports Cardiac Cup Series powered by XS Sim Gear.
Absolutely. We got a lot of action coming up this week, guys. So please do check us out for this week, because you're not going to want to miss it.
Absolutely. So Chase Hudson right now, 20 and a half seconds to the good with 3 laps to go. I'm thinking the only way he's going to lose this one is by stepping on his own junk, which he's still cranking off 45 threes.
Yeah, I'm loving that paint scheme, by the way, that classic BAR scheme.
I was going to ask you if that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, it's a British-American racing scheme, yeah.
Well, it's BAR on one side, and I'm trying to figure out what the other side is.
Oh no, that is a full BAR scheme. They ran it in '99. That was.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Williams?
No. BAR ran the split scheme.
Yeah,
Scheme in
you're
99.
right. You're right. When you said BAR, I was thinking way back, like back when Lauda ran with them.
No, it's BAR. Their first season was in '99, and Jacques Villeneuve actually joined them for a pretty hefty sum of money. So. And it was, if I remember rightly, that was the season that Jacques Villeneuve had that scary oops over Eau Rouge at Spa.
You're not wrong.
I could have swore he was still with Williams, though. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but...
His last season with Williams was in '98, so, and then he moved. Then he moved to BAR in '99, and they practically built the team around him. So, which was a mistake because they didn't score a single point that season either.
True story. So 2 to go. Hudson, Walker, Chapman, Brinson, Mayato, Walker, Vickery, Jones, Crumry, Rice, Dudley, O'Brien, Cooper Bennett, Gidman, Osmer, Morganti, Siefker, and Carl Burke not taking the green.
Yeah, Carl Burke decided not to take the green tonight. I actually didn't know he was in the session, to be fair.
Fair enough. So,
as Kevin O'Brien has put his car behind the wall now. And Tony Rice is in the top 10 now.
And Tony Rice is in the top 10. Still just huge gaps. And, that's part of the I want to choose my words carefully because I don't want to sound like an asshole.
It's part of the aspect of road course racing.
Thank you.
As we're on the white flag and Chase Hudson's coming through the kink now.
Coming through the kink, and that is Crumry in front of him. And, that's something we need to do is we need to get Paul Crumry a different number because having an 8 on a 7-Up car is just wrong.
Confusing
like
by
a
numbers.
7-Up, though.
Oh yeah, you should see his 7-Up cherry scheme as Chase Hudson's coming up the hill, does the weave, and he knows he's won this as Chase Hudson wins at Road America.
Hudson wins Road America. Chris Walker still coming through the S's right now. Neat and tidy. Knows that he's got second wrapped up. As Tony Rice dips 2 in front of him. So there's Walker coming across. Chapman coming through the S's now. So let's see who we can find here.
Scott Prince has only just gone for the kink now.
Well, in his defense, he was 30 seconds off of Justin Chapman. Who... is.
I just want to give. Sorry, Tony. I just want to give a quick mention about Keith Mayata. What a first couple of races he's had, man. 2 top 5s, man.
Oh yeah, in trial by fire, because you figure of all the tracks to pick to debut in a DW12, never having run the car before, he picks the Tricky Triangle. I'd rather slam certain parts of my anatomy in a broken sliding glass door than pick that for my first race ever in any series. And again, that's not a slam against the Pocono Mountains. It's a slam against that track hates me with a passion.
Yeah, as Tyler Vickery's got a severely damaged car.
Well, Tyler Vickery has had a severely damaged car all race.
Oh no, that car's completely tweaked now.
Hey, now it really does look like a Milcaduno car.
Oh yeah.
Get your hate mail coming, folks. This is Richard Paso, Baldwinsville, New York, P.O. Box 5150.
As our top 3 are in the green room now.
So we are going to reach out
User was
first
moved to your
to
channel.
Justin Chapman, who put up a valiant effort. Justin, talk us through the trials and tribulations here at Road America. Hello, Justin.
Hey, I'm sorry. I was still in the game, and people were talking. What's up?
So talk us through the trials and tribulations here at Road America.
Yeah, the first stint there, me and Chris had a good battle going on, and I stepped on it and spun the car out and got a little bit of damage. Had to get a new one, and the second stint there, spun out again at the very end of it, and just kept my nose clean there at the end. Not sure what happened to Keith there, but yeah, very happy with the 3rd place.
Fair enough. How bad was the tire wear towards the end of everything?
I think that's why I had so many issues there towards the end of the stints. My tires were just screaming. I couldn't get any traction and just lighting up the rears. And yeah, ultimately that's what gave me some trouble.
All right, fair enough. So joining us now,
User disconnected from your channel.
league owner Scotty Brinson. Scott, where does the series go from here?
User joined your channel.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was talking to one of the other drivers.
Where do we go from here, Scott?
Vegas.
Vegas. Sin City. Justin, what's your history look like with Vegas?
I've actually only run on one oval before, so and that was the $15 entry race a couple weeks back. So yeah,
Good luck.
I don't know. We'll see if I'm there next week. I'm not 100% positive I will be.
Well, Justin, congratulations on the podium tonight. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you next week at Vegas. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I think Scott runs the league. I mean, that is only my 2nd or 3rd race in it. I love running the road courses with everyone. This league's pretty good. A lot of clean, fast racers, and my dirt team, HRA Motorsports, that's who sponsors me on the dirt side of iRacing. So yeah, and thank you guys for putting it on.
All right, Justin, looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
Joining us now is going to be the driver of the number 23, Mr. Chris Walker. Chris saw some pretty decent battling early on. Talk us through the apparent issues that took place tonight.
Hey guys, I knew the NVIDIA card needed to have a good start, so right off the gate, I used one of my push to passes. That way I could get by the 50 of Justin Chapman on the start. And then we were pushing pretty hard to catch up to Chase at the beginning, and just made a couple minor mistakes. I couldn't get the power down coming out of a couple of the corners, and I think those are some of the corners that Chase was really proficient in at that point.
So basically, you just burned all the goodie off the tires too early.
Yeah, that's you could look at it like that.
All right, fair enough. So the series moves on to Vegas next week. What's your history look like with the Sin City?
Vegas is a good track. I've been, a pretty decent finisher there. Nothing in the top 5 yet for me from what I was looking at, but I'm looking to make, a pretty good run at Vegas this weekend.
All right, fair enough, Chris. So anybody else you want to thank tonight before we let you go?
I just want to thank Top Fuel Racing, NVIDIA for the great card that I'm using right now. Can't wait for the crypto mining to stop so I can pick up a better card. But this one's been really good to me, and I just want to show my support for it.
All right, Chris. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Tony.
User was moved out of your channel. User
And
was
the
moved to
man
your
of the
channel.
hour, the guy that just stunk up the whole show all night long. I don't think I've seen that dominating a performance ever in a broadcast. Chase Hudson just on point tonight the entire race.
Yeah, thanks, man. You got some good competition out there with just the whole podium pretty much. Really close on lap times, but almost lost connection there. Like right before the last stop, I was like, please no, it's completely spiked. I was like, that's it, and it finally everyone showed back up. I was like, thank God.
Well, I would like to point out that you won the war, but you didn't win the battle. Chris Walker went 145.0 to your 145.1 in race trim.
Oh wow, that's pretty crazy. I know we were trying to at least get to a flat right there, and man, that's pretty crazy. I was right after my last pit stop, I was using up all my my boost trying to get the fastest time, but I mean that's all I had in the tank. That's pretty impressive.
Well, dominating performance tonight. Talk to us your thoughts next week as we go to the high banks at Las Vegas on the oval.
Well, I won't be there for that race, but I'll tell it to all of you. It should be a good race as long as Scott gets the setup a little bit tighter. If it's too grippy, it's kind of just the inside line really rules that track. But if he gets a setup right, I think you'll see multiple lanes open up. But I mean, it should be a good one.
All right, fair enough. Chase, anybody else you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, thanks to Top Fuel Racing and Scott for putting this on, and Bofa for broadcasting.
All right, Chase. Looking forward to seeing you in the future. Congratulations tonight on the just sheer dominance here tonight at Road America.
Yep, thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
What a race. One of the other guys I do want to talk to, and if you guys will let me indulge here for a second, one of the other guys I am going to reach out to is Keith Mayato. In only his second DW12 race ever. Talk about trial by fire. First race being the Tricky Triangle last week at Pocono, and then coming to the road course here at Road America. Keith, I almost have to think that the full fender experience that you had really helped tonight with allowing you to push the car as hard as you were able to.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the different speed. It's definitely very different compared to an oval cup car because you don't have as much downforce. Of course, you don't carry as much speed, especially the braking into the corner. That I'm not used to driving in so deep, but it's crazy. You're on the edge, and I find passing is definitely the hardest thing to do on a road course.
Well, let me ask you this: we heard we heard Chase and Chris both talk about having that push to pass button mapped. Did you remember to map a button to have the boost at your disposal tonight?
Yeah, I mapped it. I just didn't know what it did. I didn't even try it. I was so focused just on hitting my marks. I guess you can use it whenever you want. I don't know. I'm new to the car.
Well, you can use it whenever you want, but there's only a certain amount of times you can use it as far as before it runs out. So
maybe next time. And I think we have one more road course. Maybe I'll try it then.
Fair enough. So are we going to see you next week at Vegas?
Yeah, that should be. Never done it. So, especially in this car, I've never done it. So, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty crazy experience compared to a cup car.
But have you done Vegas in a cup car, though?
Yeah. No, I've done Vegas in a cup car. So
then you'll do fine in an Indy car. I can guarantee that. But Keith, congratulations on the top 5, second week in a row, top 5 in only your second ever DW12 race. That's kind of impressive. We'll let you get back to it, and best of luck tomorrow night at Talladega.
Oh, I'm going to need a luck for tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good night.
User was moved out of your channel.
That just about does it here tonight. One of the things we are going to go over, though, bringing the results up on the page, Chase Hudson from the pole, just dominant performance tonight. Chris Walker, hard-fought second-place finish. Justin Chapman coming home in third. Scotty Brinson, our very own, coming home in fourth. Keith Mayato, of course, coming home in fifth. Sixth place going to Mark Walker. Danny Jones holding on for seventh. Tyler Vickery limping at home in eighth. Paul Crumry in ninth. Tony Rice rounding out your top 10. Then we've got Robert Dudley in 11th, Kevin O'Brien in 12th, Sam Cooper Bennett in 13th, Galen Kidman in 14th, 15th going to Ronnie Osmer, Joe Morganti in 16th, Nate Siefker. Unfortunately, connection issues biting him in the backside again, coming home in 17th, and Carl Burke not actually taking the green flag. So that is going to do it for us here tonight. You have, of course, been watching a presentation of the Top Fuel Racing Series DW12 League. You can catch this league every Wednesday night here on Bofa Broadcasting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you like the action that you're seeing on track, don't forget to drop a comment below with your iRacing screen name. We'll get that passed along to Mr. Scott Brinson, and we'll get you added into some future segments. So, Scott, before we do go, so Chase Hudson collecting the lion's share of the purse tonight. I do not have the qualifying order in front of me. Who won the Hard Charger Award?
I was just about to say, ironically, I won the biggest mover at the race award, which is something I might have done one other time in my career in this league.
Well, Scott, that is impressive, because I know you started kind of deep in the pack. You were one of the last ones to actually bust off a qualifying time, coming home just outside the podium, but still, a top 5 is a top 5, my friend.
Well, yeah, had Danny or Tyler went out and laid down a time, impressively, they both picked up 10 spots, but neither one of them qualified, so neither one of them were eligible for the bonus. So that was the only reason I was able to get it. I only moved up 4 spots. They picked up 10 spots apiece. So Danny would have actually gotten it had he qualified, but nor him nor Tyler qualified, so they weren't eligible.
Well, each one of them did make an attempt at qualifying. They just didn't get a clean lap in.
Yeah, you had to lay down a lap. Neither one of them got a lap in.
So
I'm still waiting for my five.
They had 20 minutes. I mean,
I'm still waiting for my $5 for the unluckiest driver award.
I deserve that. Let's be real.
Yeah, Nate, man.
Well, I think the two of you,
have better luck.
The two of you need to Rochambeau for that award. That's where
I don't want nothing to do with that.
That's where Nate kicks Sam in the bag, and Sam kicks Nate in the bag, and the first one that falls down loses.
Yeah.
So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen,
both losing that deal.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you back here tomorrow night as Scott and Sam are going to be at Dega with the Somo Cup Series, and I will be joined with Mr. Kevin Paskowich in Daytona for the ISDC Cup Series. So, fans' choice tomorrow night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and turn on notifications, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.
Scotty, beam us up.
Deuces.